All right, we are live on Facebook right now. I'm Jim Lubinski, professional triathlete, coach, and your host for this half hour, 45-minute, 3-hour interview with US pro triathlete Meredith Kessler. Meredith, how you doing?
Good, Jim. Good to see you.
Hey, we like to see that you never stop training. You're always on your game. Even in this conversation we're going to have, you are on the bike crushing it. What are you doing right now?
I love it. Well, 30 of us lucky pro women and pro men are part of a Zwift series. We race every week, every Wednesday, and this is our fourth race of this series. Coming up on Wednesday, we're going to be climbing Alpe d'Huez, and about a day or two before we race, they let us preview it with Sean Jefferson and Matt Lieto, giving us tips about it. And as the oldest one on the circuit, I need all the help I can get.
So we're going to get into all this stuff. You hit a lot of points just now in that one sentence that we're going to go over throughout this conversation. But what it is, it's USA Triathlon Week. Actually, it's one day post USA Triathlon Week. We still have the USA Triathlon Challenge going on. And we have a lot of athletes tuning in. And a lot of athletes want to learn how you got into the sport, how you stuck with the sport, what kept your fire going past your first race, how you became a triathlete. I mean, you were a very inspirational personality in the sport of triathlon. And happy birthday, by the way. Your birthday was yesterday, right?
42, baby. Thank you.
21st anniversary of your 21st birthday. And in celebration, you did 20. What did you do?
Yeah. So yesterday, and honestly, the kids didn't even know it was my birthday, to be honest, until the end when my mom came in with donuts and a happy birthday balloon. The whole point of yesterday was for mental fortitude for teenagers. I swim with teenagers anywhere. They're actually my friends, children. I swim with them, and if I lived in LA, I'd be swimming with you guys. I live in Ohio, and I swim with basically club swim teams that are teenagers. And I'm just the old lady in the back of the lane using paddles and fins to try to keep up. But they got to come to my dark side yesterday, and we swam 21,000.
21,000.
Yeah, we did. Basically, we did about 200 100s and then a little extra at the end.
Wow. So
it was good. And you know what? They're used to doing 5 to 6K, and they can do that so fast. So this took a lot of
is that your Sherpa there? We have a Sherpa?
This took a lot of fortitude. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you again. This took a lot of fortitude for them and a lot of gumption just to finish what they started, And they did it. And I didn't hear one complaint. They got 7 grace minutes where they could do whatever they wanted. They could take it all at one time. They could take a minute here, a minute here.
Yeah.
And 3 of the 19 of us didn't take any grace minutes. But the others all were very honest about it, and they got back in and did it. So,
well, that's a great learning, and it's something that obviously you've had throughout your career. You've been racing pro since 2009. Myself as well. We have the same trajectory. I turned pro in 2009, and there's been ups and downs, injuries, setbacks. But one thing you've always done is persevered, and now you use the term old lady. I use seasoned veteran. Racing pro for over 11 years now, and you look at all these kids coming up and you say, I remember when we came into the sport racing with, Craig Alexander, Chris McCormick, and these Chris Lieto, and these guys, the guys coming in sports say who and who. I don't know any of these people. People we stuck it out. So what, first of all, how did you get into the sport of triathlon?
Sure. Well, first, before I tell you that, I wanted to also tell you that the parents of these teenagers, they got me a gift yesterday, which I didn't need to do. And I found it so funny because they were like, thank you for inspiring our children. And then you know what my gift was? A 6-pack of my favorite dark beer, a bottle of tequila, and my favorite rosé wine. I was like, yes, they want me to, it was awesome. They knew my favorites. Yeah. And it was just so nice. So it's I've got the best of both worlds there. I love getting to be with their children, and then it's nice I can go have a cocktail with them by night,
Yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, you got they can.
How I got into the sport, let me tell you. I was an athlete my whole life. My scholarship was for field hockey. I always wanted to play a team sport in college. I almost swam in college, and then I think I wanted to be more of the team aspect. And then when I graduated, I had a midlife crisis, and I was like, what am I going to do now? I'm not good enough to go play in the Olympics for field hockey. So I saw this Ironman on the TV. I was like, I'm going to go do that. And I found one nearby my house at the time, and bought a bike with my graduation money at 21 years old, slapped myself in an Ironman 2 weeks later. Caught the bug of it then, and age grouper, 9 years, pro the last 11, and Ironman New Zealand this past March was my 69th Ironman finish. I wish I could tell you 74, but I have DNF'd 5 Ironman. Yeah.
Oh, 5 out of 74.
Yeah,
I think we
5.
can
And I remember each one like they were yesterday, right?
Yeah. Those ones
always do.
hurt. And that's the way, and and a learning point from everybody listening, that's how it has to hurt. You
right.
have to remember those ones, those DNFs, and not say, oh,
right.
it's just another non-finish. It's
right.
That thing hurts, and I'm never going to let it happen again, because you find this,
right.
and we're going off on a tangent, but you find this issue with, a perennial DNFer, because it's so easy just to say, okay, this hurts, I'm done. There's times when I've seen you walk to the finish line. I mean, there's been more times when you cross the finish line first and break the tape, but you've walked to the finish line just to get that finish line.
Where I'll finish what you start. And if we don't fail and if we don't lose, right, what is going to drive us to be better? And I will fail again in the future. I failed so many times, and I will in the future, but I've always said to like my tribe and as advice is to not let success get to our head or failures to our heart, because it's so easy for both to happen,
Yeah, and that's what your T-shirt is going to say when we print up T-shirts for Meredith Kessler. That's what your T-shirt.
I love it.
So in that first Ironman that you did, all these athletes listening on the Tower 26 page, USA Triathlon page, they all have a first race, horrible experience. What happened to you in that first race that you could say, oh God, I remember this. This is brutal. I pooped my pants or whatever it is. Well,
it's funny. As a swimmer growing up, if you look at my swim time and my run time, it's not that far off from where I am now. I mean, sure, I maybe swam, 55 minutes, and I guess my best has been 47, but it all depends on the course, right? And then my run was maybe 3:25. Okay, I just ran a 3:04, but it's not like it was like 4:30,
Yeah.
My bike was 8 hours. 8 hours. I did my bike in running shorts. Yep, I sure did. That was the hardest part of the day, is doing it in running shorts.
The hardest part of that day is probably dealing with the chafage after the race. In the shower.
That was not a good call. And I literally couldn't walk for days, Jim. After I couldn't walk for days, and I was like, somehow the next day I signed myself up for another one. See, we all have a screw loose in that regard.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. And I always say, like, you go through it and you're like, why the heck am I doing this thing? I'm in so much pain. It's miserable. But then you cross the finish line, you say, when's the next one?
Correct. Because you remember what you feel like after, and going down the finishing chute and accomplishing something you thought maybe you couldn't accomplish. That's a huge deal too.
Yeah. And I think that's and a big point of this conversation is for first timers. People are just thinking about getting into racing. What keeps that fire going past that first race? And you're hitting it on the head. It's just that feeling of accomplishment, something that you've opened up, you've blossomed like a flower. And all of a sudden you see all this different potential that you never had when you're sitting at your desk typing on the computer or watching TV. You have these realizations that what is possible.
100%. And how, and I've said this before, it's like when I worked in like the corporate world, I'd come in like the next day, the Ironman's on Sunday, and Monday I'd be at work with like my skirt on and like compression tights underneath. And I'd walk in to grab a cup of coffee in like the break room. And a coworker would be like, so Meredith, how was that like 5K you did over the weekend? And I'm like, listen, brother, that was not a 5K, bro. Yeah. But I didn't say that. I was like, oh, it was great. No problem. Because understandably, they just don't get it.
Yeah.
But those who have done it or want to do it or have seen it and are in the community and they see people thriving and they want to thrive in that regard, they get it. They get how much it takes to be able to conquer something like that. And it's not about winning. It's about finishing with gusto, and finishing what you started. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, the best part of these races is sticking around after, you finish in 4 hours, you stick around to that 6-7 hour mark. And with the way these athletes are finishing, it just inspires me so much to go on to that next race and give it my all.
Well, 11 p.m. to midnight, it's the best hour of the day, right? Because you see people who have been out there since 7 a.m., right?
The best. And like you said, with gusto, they're finishing and like you see that sense of accomplishment, whereas 74 Ironmans you finished, I don't know, God knows how many I finished, and you finish and you're like, great, I accomplished this. But to see that sense of accomplishment on those first timers finishing 16 hours, that's where you really feel that, that love for the sport and that sense of accomplishment.
Right. Well, Sean Jefferson's like, Are you okay, MBK? I got talking and I dropped 8 seconds. So ignore me for a second. All right, I'm back.
Yeah. So let me hem and haw. So the thing is, what Meredith is doing right now is she's doing a pre-course ride for her race on Wednesday. The pro triathletes race on Wednesdays. And as Coach Megan is showing you right now, she's screen sharing Meredith as she is riding on Zwift right now. That's her avatar, and she's rocking the course. But so she's pre-riding the course, and Sean Jefferson, who's one of the moderators on the pro race on YouTube, is leading them through it and just giving tips as to how to execute on race day. And here's my issue, if I can go off on Sean Jefferson for a minute. So Sean Jefferson is a coach. He works at Zwift. He works with Tower 26. And he rides with me on Saturdays. And this past Saturday, we did 95 miles and we did over 9,500 feet of climbing. If you're Craig Taylor, he would say we did 11,000 feet of climbing, but we were at about 9,500 feet of climbing, and Sean just, randomly didn't show up for the ride. So Meredith seems to think he was not riding because he was preparing for this race prep. I think he just wanted to sleep in and, miss out on a major work segment for the week. So I'm calling you out, Sean Jefferson. You better be on it. Yeah, that's what I do. We're always competing, right? All right, are you back up with the group?
I'm back.
You drop them. You're
I'm
back
in front now.
ahead.
They all got to catch me.
Yeah, you gave them a little distance. Now you can chill out.
I love it.
So being a 9-year age group athlete turning pro, where did you find the biggest difference when you changed from age group to professional racing?
Yeah, I felt like you got to experience it from the front, right? The best part of our sport is getting to have that camaraderie, though, with the age groupers. So nothing changed in that regard. Like, I got to see the fellow pros out there, and then I got to also see the age groupers, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like when you go from being an amateur to a pro, because that's what you want to do, you just rise, right? You never know how strong you are until you're called to rise. And I had to rise in the pro field. It's like, whoa, these girls are, they're intense for a reason. So now I got to try to match their intensity and learn from them and grow, like the Leanda Caves, the Rachel Joyces, Chrissy Wellington. Those are of my era.
Yeah.
And Jody Swallow. I mean, I've learned so much from those gals along the way. And then current active pros I learn from every day. Even on the Zwift racing, I'm like, man, she knows how to Zwift race.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So,
and that's what's cool about the sport is, like we said, 74 races, however many, you're always learning. You're always learning something new after every training session, every race. And it's pretty amazing. We have a good grasp of how to go out there and execute, how to go out there and race and what we're capable of. But there's not a race that I finish where I'm like, whoa, I didn't learn that, or I didn't learn this.
No, there's no perfect race, right? You could win your best, have your best day and your most perfect time, and something happened. The unexpected happened. Something goes wrong. And it's honestly more about how you manage the adversity within it than it is if you just had a perfect day. I bet even Lionel Sanders or Daniela Reef, they don't have perfect days either, but they manage adversity very well.
Yeah. And I think staying present is a lot of that.
Right.
You have to stay present with the process. Don't think about what happened or what's going to happen. And when you're doing out the Zwift on Wednesday, believe me, staying present is probably the biggest factor in how you're going to do in that race. Because if you start thinking, how the heck am I going to keep this effort up for 5 more miles? It's going to go down quickly.
Right.
So being a seasoned veteran, you started out 21-year-old triathlete. Now you're 42 years old. How has your training changed, and how can you give some tips to those athletes who might be starting at 40 years old? Like, what have you done different over the years to adapt yourself to be able to accept the load that you're putting on the body?
Well, it's funny. And I get that. And our brand has always been balance. And people are like, what is a brand and what is balance? I totally get that. It's just, for me, it's more important to be remembered as Meredith the person, not Meredith the athlete. And so the 30-year-old Meredith, though, is a lot different than the 40-plus. Like, 30-year-old Meredith said yes to everything. I ran around like a chicken with my head cut off. I did way too much volume. Now, every single workout has a purpose. I believe in balance. I believe that there's a big life, even though it's my job, outside of triathlon. And I have what I like to call web days. Why even bother? Like, we're all gonna have them, but it's how we don't dwell on those. It's like I have athletes that dwell. They can't stop thinking about it. And I'm like, listen, sister, move on. Tomorrow's a new day. And so I am about efficiency training. To be honest, the only volume I do is swimming, because swimming's like my recovery. So if I have 3 to 4 marquee sessions, I also have like 2 to 3 MBK chi swims where I'll go 4 to 6 to 7 to 8, 9, 10K straight swimming. But that's my like rehab, my rehabilitation mentally and physically. So I love it when I hear people say, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go ride 7 hours. That's awesome. That's not gonna be me, because I think you can go ride 3 to 4 hours with purpose. And also I have, 70 some Ironmans on my legs, So I'm using a lot of muscle memory there. But I believe, and I learned a lot of this from Matt Dixon. I was with him 10 years. I'm no longer coached by him, but I learned a lot about how I was a corporate world, and I probably trained 11 to 14 hours a week. And that was fine. And I was able to compete in Ironman at a higher level as well. So I think there's a way to make triathlon your hobby, and your hobby is your passion. I was just fortunate enough to make my hobby my job. And now career.
Yeah, and that, that's the thing that could be intimidating coming to the sport is, triathlon, I don't have 30 hours a week to train for an Ironman. And you don't need that. You need the quality over the quantity. And all that does is just dig you into a deeper hole. So,
like your track workouts. Yeah, your track workouts you're doing, the rides you're doing. If you're doing those hour, whatever it is, hour and a half, that's all you need. You don't need to go out and do 3 hours of that, right?
Yeah, and I think that, that is something that athletes get their mind, that they just need to train too much. And a lot of times they forget that we do this for fun. It's an outlet from, even as professionals and as coaches, we have to remember that we do this for fun. We coach this athletes as their outlet. We can never be like the drill instructor saying, hey, you have to do this right now. We can always adapt and make it fun for the athlete. And a lot of times in these Zwift rides that I lead throughout the week and on the runs, I say, hey, smile. You guys are taking this way too serious. Like, yeah, I want you to hit your numbers, but let's remember, we have to enjoy this.
Right. And I think my team MBK knows, and you might have heard me say this, is it's really important. And this is what I told the teenagers this past weekend. We got to do that, right? To recognize the privilege of getting to do what we get to do. And I'm not trying to be like dramatic. It's just like, there are tons of people in this world who would love to be talking to you riding on Zwift. Is my heart rate 155 right now? I'm dying. I get to do this, right?
Yeah.
And I recognize that privilege, even when I'm in the well, and even when I wake up and I'm like, ooh, I'm sore, I'm stiff, I'm tired, But I remember what I feel like after. And it gets me up out of bed with gusto every time, with the positive mindset that we all need to have, right? We do. And I want to say, though, not every day is going to be like roses and cake, It's not. That's what Ironman training is. And it's how you manage that makes us where the magic happens, basically.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you said. That you're not going to feel like going out, putting those shoes out and getting out the door every single day, but it's that consistency and that focus that gets you out the door. And, that's why you have coaches like yourself and myself. If you just don't have it, that's where we give you that reassurance. Hey, that one day isn't going to be the biggest difference. It's the week, day over day, week over week, month over month, that leads to that difference on race day.
Right.
So
100%. I'm of your mindset, Jim.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're the same age. We're of the same generation. We got these young kids coming up that they want to.
Well, and then you add a kid into the mix, right?
Oh God, yeah. How's Mac doing?
He's good, and it's funny. I thought it was hard when he was like 4 or 5 months, and I was nursing him 5 minutes before the gun went off. That was easy. Now that he has like a personality and opinions, it's a lot harder at 2.5.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to get into next is, so he's 2.5 years old. Yeah. You had the baby, you know, all that. And then you got right back on it. You started racing, you got fitter than ever. Like, how was that process coming from, having the baby? Because we have a lot of athletes out there, a lot of female athletes who have a baby and said, oh, it's just not possible to get back to it. What did you have to do to get back into it and get back to that elite performance?
Well, please reach out to me personally. I have this email going of pregnant athletes, how do you get back after? And obviously,
throw any of that info out because I'm sure people want to.
I will, and I would love to. And it's really easy. I doctor it for their person, but it states the beef of what's important. But it's the two most powerful warriors are patience and time. And I have to say that advice to myself because I remember I did Ironman Texas when Mac was literally turned 5 months on the day. And I honestly didn't know if, I know you're a dude, so hopefully you don't experience this, but if my uterus was going to pop out of my C-section scar
let's hope
during
I
that
don't.
run.
Yeah.
So it was very stressful. I was also stressed because like my kid wouldn't take a bottle. He would only take me. Hillary Biscay ended up nursing him during the race and telling me that mid-run, like 20K into the run, she's like, Mare, hi, I fed your baby because she had a 2-week-old at the time. So you're all good, don't worry.
Wow.
And it was like 7 seconds she told me that. And it was like the relief I felt for the next hour and a half was priceless. But yeah, my biggest thing for women is to focus on your pelvic floor. That's what gets the most jacked up with pregnancy. And I would do these PT exercises that I didn't think, I'd look at them and I'd be like, those aren't gonna work. And then I found myself mid-workout sitting down to do them and being able to go back to the workout even better. So it's being patient with that. And then being patient with yourself, man. I mean, it's funny, looking back at that first year of MAC, first of all, I almost felt like I had I was baby doping. I had these mom hormones. And I had some of my best races in like when he was 6, 7, 8 months. And then at 9 months, it started to go downhill. It's like lack of sleep accumulated because my kid just really didn't sleep the first 2 years. Nursing accumulated, all the energy spent doing that. And I learned so much each race. I was like, and obviously there's no better feeling of getting to your finish line, right? Where your kid's there, your partner's there, life is good, it's worth it. But I'm not saying it was, easy to get there. You just have to manage what you can do, right? Just like everything else, whether you have a child or not, right?
Yeah.
So I just was also cognizant of not overdoing it. A lot of my peers had stress fractured easily. You know, that's what can happen when you nurse a lot during heavier training. You can easily be susceptible to sacral stress fractures, also from hunching over. So I was very cognizant of that. I had a liberal doctor, thankfully. Like, even me, Jim, he was like, yeah, you can swim at like maybe 10 days after. So I go and I try it 10 days, and I was like, even me, I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. I think I'll wait till the 2-week mark.
I imagine you might want to wait a little longer than that. The trauma your body went through is
totally.
pretty intense.
You just have to be patient with it. But I guess my biggest message is, we're pregnant. When you're pregnant, but you're not powerless. So a lot of mixed feelings about that for people. Like, do I get my heart rate above X amount, blah, blah, blah. I swam 8K the day Mac was born, but I stopped running at probably 35 weeks because it just didn't feel like it was kosher. Like, at that point, it's like, what's the point of running so slow? And it feels wrong and like that I'm doing damage. So when I just talked about though that get to versus have to mindset, I definitely had to parlay that mindset into pregnancy because, I had Mac at 39. My husband and I have been together since we're 14, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone thought
say hi to Aaron. Say I love you, Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Yeah.
But just so he knows, I'm the world's best dad ever.
You are.
Yeah, see?
You are. And happy Father's Day recently. But yeah, that's just what I'm saying is that you have to, like, there are many people that would want to be pregnant, and pregnancy it's tough for everybody. To be honest, I love the women who are like, oh, I love being pregnant. Literally, they're my heroes because it's a challenge for some. And I was scared the whole time, So I still pinch Mac to this day. I'm like, oh my God, he's really real. Perfect.
Yeah.
So lucky.
Oh, so that doesn't stop. I find us, Madeline's 3.5 months old. We do it every day. It's like, I can't believe she's here. Never stops.
You're actually still in very much newborn phase.
Yeah. So hopefully I get those baby hormones and I start performing better than ever.
Yeah.
Right?
You need those. We all need them. We all do.
I'd say so. So, talk about pregnancy, injury. How important, well, injury is a little different, but how important is it having something on your schedule to shoot for when you're going through something like that?
Yeah, you need goals, daily goals. And that was the thing with running. It's like, all right, I'm doing Ironman Texas at the 5-month mark. Okay, at the 3-month mark, I still can't run properly at all. And then you just have to trust your body and your muscle memory and your gumption in your head, like mentally. If you want it, as long as you're not ruining anything, you're not going to become injury free. Everything else shimmies into place, but you got to believe. I mean, that's my biggest advice on that. And I had small daily goals. It was like, all right, dude, today you're going to run a half a mile. Tomorrow you're going to run 3/4 a mile. And every day you just, notch it up a smidge, and that worked for me. It has since I was 10 years old, doing like that kind of stuff.
And that's funny. I think the same thing back to when I was just running from my house to my friend's house. Like, okay, I was like 10 years old. How fast can I run from my house to my friend's house? And, that's instilled in you, those little goals. And I spoke to a girl that a woman you're going to be competing against on Wednesday is Sky.
Yes. I enjoy her. Yes.
We spoke to her last week and she said the same thing. You need those little daily goals. We were speaking about getting through this whole quarantine coronavirus situation. And I said, how do you get through it? And she said, little goals, whether it's just slight increases in FTP or just knocking out a certain workout.
Yep.
And I think that's a huge takeaway. Is just, you don't have to look at my Ironman's 12 months from now. Like what can you achieve tomorrow? What's that little goal?
Right. And then there's a lot of virtual racing. This is my biggest thing during quarantine is even I'm thinking about my goals now. It's like yesterday was the 21,000 yards we did, right? Or last week I joined, I've been doing the Zwift races. And then on Thursdays I do a team race with Angela Nath and a lot of Q2 people that are on this team. And that's so much fun. And actually, you're literally working as a team, which we don't get much in actual triathlon racing.
Yeah.
Then I have an email in my inbox from Paula Newby about doing another VR race. So that's where my goals come in. And even I invite everybody on here, check out the races on Zwift. And if your coaches allow you to jump in a race for 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, do it. It's so much fun. You're racing with people all over the world. And
you're going to set a new FTP. Yeah. Oh God.
You get in the mindset, right? Whether you know the people or not, like you see the countdown, you're like, all right, 10 seconds, let's do this.
Oh, when I know I'm doing
it holds you accountable.
When I'm doing a Zwift race, I know, I feel like it's race day. Like I wake up and I have those pre-race jitters and I get on, I feel exactly like I'm going to do it on race day. So, I mean,
exactly.
You have to shoot for something. That's a great option. Or if you don't have Zwift, you don't have access to it, create your own goals. Go say I'm going to do a 10K in 2 weeks, something like that.
100. I mean, Hillary Biscay for Smash Fest Queen is doing a bunch of virtual 5K, 10K, half marathon this weekend. There's so many things out there that give you that kind of leverage to do so.
Yeah, I mean, USA Triathlon right now, they have their USA Triathlon Challenge where they're just logging miles. And it's like, how many miles can you get by next weekend? And
awesome.
Pretty cool. So you go to usatriathlon.org and sign up for the challenge, and it starts logging your miles and it puts you on the leaderboard. And it's just, at first when I signed up, I was like, oh, cool, it's another challenge. But now I find myself checking in every day, like, how many miles did I get today? Okay, I can get up to 12th place if I do this many miles today. And it just ropes you in. It just gives you something to do for.
And you have fun doing it. That's the most important thing. I mean, people always say, oh, have fun today. Let me tell you when I have fun. When it's over and I'm high-fiving people and you're sharing battle stories. That's the most fun and why we do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a guy on this virtual challenge. So they have a challenge division where it's competitive, and then they have a division where you can just join and be part of it. The competitive division, this guy tags me every single day like, hey, this is what I got today. What are you going to do? And I'm like, okay, now I guess I'm competing against you and everybody else on here. So it's kind of cool the way they've created this where it's not a race where it's like we show up and race. It's just log your miles. So it kind of takes a little different approach. That's kind of cool. So after I'm done speaking to you, I'm going to go hit 200 miles on Zwift. So.
I need it to happen at 350 watts, please.
300. Yeah. Do I do any less? That's my warm up.
What am I thinking? I should have said 400.
It makes a big difference when you're 250 pounds, though, Just say all these, big.
Look at those guns.
They don't go uphill fast.
It's from lifting your 3.5-month-old.
Yeah, 15 pounds. She's getting big.
Right.
So we are climbing the Alpe d'Huez now. What are we at for a percentage? 10%. What's this effort feel like for you? You're not even breathing hard. We are at 10%.
Yeah. I'm okay right now because I'm sitting behind probably two 220-pound guys or something.
For all you watching right now, Meredith's at 4 watts per kilogram, going 11% grade, and not even breathing hard. So this is frustrating for all of us watching. And heart rate 156. Come on, you may as well be sitting on the couch eating potato chips. So you
trying to keep up with Sean.
That's Shad. You can keep up with him. Drop him. He's a retired pro. So, Megan, are you still on the line? Do we have any questions for Meredith? Did anything come in that anyone wants to go over while she catches her breath? Catches her breath. She's not even working hard. But if you haven't done the Alpe d'Huez Zwift, it is a legit climb. I actually just watching this makes me want to go out and crush it. I might have to jump on after this. Meg, you there?
Yes, yeah. Meredith, thank you so much for being on. So how do those legs feel right now at this very moment?
I'm okay. I really am okay. You guys, if anything, I think I'd feel worse if I wasn't chatting with you all. So we're good.
Yeah, we're taking the focus off the pain.
That's right.
And what is your favorite recovery, whether it be a workout or a product?
Sure. I have a couple things for that. Obviously, my chi swims that I said, just like with a lot of toys. Jerry Rodriguez taught me this the most. Fins, lots of fins. Kept being on back, swimming with fins just to get that lactic acid out. Wine, I like a good, on a summer day, I like a good Riesling. My Normatec boots are key. When Matt, my son, gets to watch a show before night, so I slap those on. We kind of cuddle. Life is good. And then also I take this, it's like an immune vitamin called Vector 450. And I've taken it probably 7 years now. Goodness, knock on wood. But it just, I swear, it just keeps Mac and I both, and my husband, healthy. He was getting it through me the first year of his life. I was nursing. And now I put it in his like juice. And it just keeps us healthy. It helps with recovery, inflammation, obviously health and wellness, especially right now as we go through this quarantine and everything and COVID. So those are my 4 main things.
So are you saying that this is the cure to COVID-19?
It is, man. I swear. It just, even before all this, with all the travel, and taking Mac with us, staying healthy. And it does. It just helps us stay healthy. And I take a little more. Here's an example. If I even feel like an inkling of sickness coming on, I take like 2 more tabs, like before bed, and I usually take them in the morning. And I wake up and I feel okay again. I'm fine.
That's awesome.
And don't worry, everybody. I checked. They are completely legal. They're just immune vitamins.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to take these huge green vitamins that we swore kept us healthy all the time, but it was actually just an anti-hangover pill. And I think it was a placebo. I think it was a placebo, but I believe this, and especially with all the travel, it's like even before this COVID thing, it's just airplanes are gross. Right. Take something that's going to head it off, especially as a professional athlete. You don't want to miss any training because you're sick. Right. So you may as well head off all that stuff. And that's the biggest thing. And supplement wise, you could take all these recovery drinks, this and that. There's so much stuff on the market, but staying healthy is the number one issue, so you can get that consistency in. Absolutely.
Yes. So my code on Vector 450, if you need it, it's MBK Vector. Ping me anytime for any questions. Pregnancy.
Yeah.
Recovery,
how would athletes get in touch with you if they had a?
I'd much prefer just my email, mbk@meredithkessler.com. That's better than Instagram messaging. I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
So one thing I do pride myself on is I make time for people who make time for me. So that's one of the reasons actually we wrote our book, Life of a Triathlete, is I was getting a lot of the same questions. So I slapped it all just in my book. Yeah. But now that was 5 years ago. Now there's a lot of new things,
Mm-hmm. Got to need a second edition of the book.
I should, yeah.
The Life of a Mommy Triathlete.
That's right. That's right. Maybe a pregnancy one, because that's a lot of questions I get.
So mbk@meredithkessler.com.
That's right. Yep.
Follow you on Instagram. You have plenty of places to follow you there. You can watch the Zwift race on YouTube on Wednesday at what time is it now?
2:50 Eastern time.
2:50 Eastern time. Watch you crush on there. Megan, do we have anything else that anyone want to go over with Meredith?
How much sleep do you get, Meredith, typically?
It's funny. So before Mac, I got a lot more. And I mean that only because I would be able to take a nap in the middle of the day. I also was training with San Francisco buddies who had to be in the office by a certain time. So I'd have 4 hours of training done before 9 a.m. I went through a phase where I didn't do any training before 8:30, 9 a.m., just with Mac and everything. now I'll get in one workout before he wakes up, and then his nap time, like right now, is key. But as long as I get, I won't deny, last night or Sunday night, I got maybe 4 hours adrenaline for getting the kids ready for 21K. No one sleeps the night before a race. But if I got 6 hours, that's great. And then I let that accumulate. And then I will take a nap while Mac's napping every now and again.
Fit it in when you can, right?
Right? Exactly. Sleep when they sleep. That's what they try to tell you, right? And then you're like, I got a lot to do.
That's what everybody says. Sleep when they sleep. I got too much stuff to do to sleep when they sleep. Take it to sleep. I'm a man. I'm a man. Nap at 2:30 in the afternoon. Yeah.
Exactly. You're like, I got work to do, right?
It's more like because I have all this coffee in my system. There's no way I'm falling asleep.
Right?
What else? Anything else, Meg?
How much longer do you have on this hill?
I have probably, I think about 5 more miles. Not too far.
We can't see her view right now, but it has the countdown going on. It has her splits up on her screen. We just see, what she's doing on the road.
We're at 20. So only another, I think it's one more.
You
guys help me go fast.
Yeah, see that? You're not even paying attention to effort. I love this. You know what? Wednesday we'll do the same thing. Facebook Live.
Can I call in?
Yeah, we're going to be live on Wednesday. We'll lead you through. You know what we'll do? We'll take the live coverage from Sean and Matt, and we'll do it here while you're riding.
Perfect.
And I bet you we'll have a much more entertaining conversation.
Because, I love it. That sounds like a plan.
We'll bypass all the, the semantics of what it takes to train, and we'll talk about what's real.
Perfect. I like that plan, Jim.
All right. What else, Meg? Anything?
We'll let you keep climbing up that hill, but thank you so much, Meredith. This is amazing to have you on.
Thank you for having me, and really reach out. Let me know what I can do for anybody, and keep thriving.
Yes, we love it. Thank you for all the info. We got a lot of great nuggets here, Meredith, but we appreciate all the time. So remember, mbk at meredithkessler.com. You can follow her on Instagram. And yeah, good luck when the racing starts up again. We look forward to seeing you on course and leaving it all out there like you always do.
You got it. I'll see you there, and we'll high five on the course, Jim.
Yeah, we always do.
All right.
It's fun seeing that smile.
Thank you.
All right.
Good luck to everybody, and thank you. Bye.
Meredith.
Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you.
All right, Meg.